My brothers and sisters, you are now watching The Gamer 2323, so just forget about the chores you're supposed to do. Put your feet up, get your Kool-Aid, fried chicken, popcorn, get whatever you may need. And I hope you enjoy the video. Can you deny this season any longer? This is hands down the best season ever of The Walking Dead. Literally every episode something is going down. I thought this was going to be like a filler episode because the season finale is this next week. We all know who's coming, and he's bringing let's just say a good friend with him. So I thought nothing was really going to go down in this episode. I was sadly mistaken. So man, season 6, man, just from episode to episode to episode, this has been the most consistent, entertaining, compelling season thus far of The Walking Dead. I'm really enjoying this junk right now, and I cannot wait to see what goes down in that season finale. It is about to get so lit. You just don't understand. So another recap. This was for episode 15. I'm on time this time, suckers. So lay off a brother. Okay, so man, I think this episode was called East, and a lot of stuff went down in this episode, more so than I expected. So at the very beginning, you see Carol packing up her things. You get to see how Carol is about to leave before she dips, you know. So she's not going to tell nobody that she's leaving. You know, you get the sense that all this death going around is really starting to affect Carol. She doesn't want to kill people. She's not like Morgan. Like, she'll kill people if she has to, but this is for the first time in a long time that you actually see that her killing people is really starting to get to her. Like, she doesn't want to kill, but if she has no choice, she will. Morgan's just like, all life is precious, so you won't at all. But Carol, she'll still kill. She just really doesn't want to. You see it's really starting to get to her. So with the whole Denise thing and how she just died and all this death going around, Carol, you really see it's starting to get to her. So that's why I think she's leaving Alexandria. So she's packing up her stuff. She's getting some food, some gear, you know, some stuff like that. Tobin, her man, I guess, you know, he's coming up the stairs, and she hides her bags because she doesn't want him to know that she's leaving, you know. So he starts to talk to Carol about Denise and stuff. She like zones out, like she's not even listening to a word this guy is saying. I don't know really what she's thinking about, you know, but you just get the sense that Carol really doesn't want to be there anymore. You get the sense that, you know, she feels like she has to leave, you know, because this is just too much for her right now. So she stays there with Tobin for a little while longer, you know, until the night, and then she dips. You know, she sneaks out and stuff like that without telling no one, but she does leave him a note, you know, and so that happens. After that, they started playing some happy behind music. I was like, uh-oh. Because every time you got some happy music playing in this show, you know something's about to go down. So he was playing some happy behind music. I was like, who's dying? You know, so that starts to happen. You see a scene of Glenn and Maggie. They are inside the shower, both butt naked, of course, you know. And, you know, Glenn, he's looking down on Maggie's glorious body. Freaking Lauren Cohan, Lord have mercy. And then he sees, like, 2 bruises, like, I think on her back and, like, on her hip, you know. So he sees that, and he's kind of worried. And then he whispers something in her ear, and she kind of starts to, you know, cry. And Glenn's trying to comfort her and stuff like that. Daryl, he's starting to feel guilty about what went down with Denise, because again, he could have killed Dwight when he first seen him, but he didn't. So Daryl's starting to feel guilty about that. Sasha and Abraham got freaking Sasha and Abraham got googly eyes now, you know, and they freaking smiling at each other, and freaking and Sasha's just like, I'm like, what the freak? I'm like, what the freak is this? And then it pans over to Rosita. Rosita's like this. She's freaking lurking in the back, looking straight at Sasha. I'm like, this chick Rosita is plotting to kill you, Sasha. You better stay far away. So you see her, you know, she's just seeing the whole exchange between Sasha and Abe, and you get the sense that she don't like it, you know. So that happens. Then my man Rick. This man Rick is still I got jungle fever, Cole. he's laid up with Michonne, and stuff like that. It's still so weird to see them like that. So I'm just gonna have to take a while to me to get used to it. But the good thing is they're not pushing it in your face. It happens naturally, So, but Rick is laid up butt naked with with Michonne. Rick's like, let's get it on, but Michonne says no because they have some shifts to run and stuff like that. And I think she says that Maggie is afraid of an attack, that they might get attacked by all the freaking people that they've been killing recently, And Rick, you get a feeling that he's kind of cocky, You've been getting the sense in a couple of episodes. Yes, Rick is a boss. Rick is a savage. Rick is definitely that dude. But you get the sense that Rick is biting off a little more than he can chew. He really doesn't really know what the saviors and their leader are capable of, So he's he's just like, if there is an attack, we'll win. The world is ours, Michonne. And it's just like, okay, Rick, so you get the feeling he's a little cocky, but Rick, he doesn't seem to be worried at all. He feels like his group, and now, he has taught some of the Alexandrians of how to fight. He really feels that they can really take on whoever tries to come at them, So that whole thing goes down. Daryl dips. You freaking see Daryl get on his bike and go out. He's not telling no one where he's going, but he's going to look for Dwight and kill him. He really, you get the sense that he really feels guilty about not killing Dwight when he had the chance, and now Denise is dead, so he really blames himself for that. So he leaves. Glenn, Michonne, and Rosita, they go after him because they don't want him out there by himself, and they want him to come back and stay home just in case something goes down. After that, Tobin gives Rick the note that Carol left, and Rick's like, what is this? No, Rick just reads the note, and he freaks out because Carol was one of the top dogs in this group. Whether you want to admit it, I'm not sure. No one, I'm probably sure no one would go against that statement. Carol is most definitely one of the alpha. I mean, she can't be an alpha male, but one of the alpha dogs, in this group, So Rick freaks out. He's like, you didn't see her? Like, you didn't see her leave? Like, nothing? He starts to ask Sasha, Abe, no one saw nothing. Rick is starting to freak out because you got a Carol on the loose. No one knows where she went. Daryl's gone. Glenn's gone. Michonne is gone. Rosita is gone. He's like, I gotta do something, because they have to be prepared just in case they get attacked, So Morgan, this is a episode where Morgan, he's not so much, just in the background and kind of like a ghost. He actually is in this episode doing things, so he starts to walk away. Rick is like, where are you going? And Morgan, he's going after Carol, and Rick says, wait, I'm coming with you, so they both get in the car. Rick and Morgan take off in the car to go after Carol, so that goes down. Then it goes to Carol, right? So Carol, yes, she has escaped, and she took one of the cars that had all the freaking spikes in it, to just, keep away the walkers, So she definitely didn't take one of the best cars, So she's driving a freaking car that is covered that's covered in spikes, So she's driving. You don't really know where exactly she's going, I don't even know if she knows where she's going, So she's driving. She runs into some of the saviors, and that's what I feared, especially now, because the saviors are really close now. You can't just be getting up and leaving like that by yourself. So lo and behold, she runs into some people, and she starts to drive by them. They say, oh nah, fam. They freaking shoot her tires, so she can't go nowhere, and tell her to get out the car. Here comes Carol trying to play the wolf in sheep's bruh. She is the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing. Now again, all this death is starting to get to Carol, but don't think you could just take out this old woman just because she seems terrified, and she starts
I wouldn't even call it acting at this point. I really think when Carol starts to break down and cry, she like really means that, because she really doesn't want. It's almost like she's crying because yes, all this death is affecting her, but she's not really crying for herself. She's crying for the people that she's about to kill. Like, it really like seems like that. So she starts to break down and cry, saying, "Please don't kill me." And one of the guys, it was the guy talking. I just love the way how he was talking to Carol and just his voice. He just really came off as like creepy. He was like, "You're right. You're not going anywhere." It's just like, oh god, something's about to go down. And it was like 5 guys, so Carol is definitely outnumbered. And the guy asked Carol where she's from, and Carol's like, nowhere. Carol's not gonna give up. Where her peeps are. So she's like, nowhere. She lies about her name. I think she said her name was Nancy, and stuff like that. So she lied about where she was from. And then the guy picks up. She's like, "Miles, where was we seen a car like that?" Because I was like, how does he know where she's from? But apparently some of the saviors, they were gonna go to Alexandria and go there in the first place and try to take out something. So they said that they were headed to Alexandria, and now because they seen her car and it had the spikes, and they seen cars like that over there, before, that's how they know that Carol is really from Alexandria. So he's like, "Hop in. Maybe they'll let us in because we have you." It's just the way he was talking. I just love the way he was talking, So Carol, she really starts to freak out because it's like because now they know that, she is from Alexandria and they're headed there, So she really starts to freak out. She like starts to break down. Again, like, I really think she really means that she's not really trying to play possum at this point. I really think she really is like crying. Again, maybe not so much for her, but because I'm crying because I don't want to kill you, but I know I have to, So all of a sudden, shots start to go off. I'm like, who the freak? Where the freak? Like, what is going on? I don't know. I think someone had said, and I must have missed this, but she was sewing a freaking machine. I think someone had said that. I completely missed that part. Apparently, because the way she was wearing this jacket, her arms were kind of like inside the sleeves, and apparently she freaking sewed a freaking machine gun freaking into one of her sleeves. I'm like, who the freak just shot all of those bullets? You see a pan, freaking Carol's like, I'm like, this woman is beyond savage, bro. Like, my God, I don't know how, but Carol is like the freaking female Rambo right now. She is just, man. I was like, how the freak do you have a machine? Because it could have been no, just pistol. That jump was brrr, like, I'm like, what the freak? So that's how she got out of that thing. And but she didn't kill one of. So one of the guys got out the car. She thought she killed them all. One of the guys got out the car. He started trying to shoot at her. Carol, ducks behind the car, grabs one of the spikes right between this guy's right through his freaking chest. He dies, of course. So Carol just took out like 5 dudes on her freaking own. It's just like, can you not deny that this chick is one of the top dogs in this freaking group? The freaking transformation of her character from season 1 to where she was getting abused, she was getting Ray Riced, Chris Brown by freaking Ed, to see who Carol is today, my lord. So that goes down. Then there's a scene with Maggie and Enid. Now I don't know if it's just me, but I completely forgot this chick existed. I was like, I completely forgot about Enid. Where have you been? Like, she hasn't been in, like, at least it feels like she hasn't been in an episode in a long time. It's like, I don't know if she was around Judith, because you never see Judith neither. It's like, Where the freak have you been? So there's like a little scene with her and Maggie. Not too much goes down. Then it goes back to Morgan and Rick. So Morgan and Rick, they're inside a car and they're driving to look for Carol. And Morgan is again. He's talking to Rick about how there is no right or wrong choice no more these days, and his whole outlook of how he looks at life and stuff like that. Rick is just listening, and Morgan is afraid that the direction Rick is going, that eventually he's gonna become like he's gonna lose all of his humanity, and Rick, he has been a savage. I mean, he doesn't, just like he has said, he was like, I don't take chances anymore. And that's whole Rick's, mindset. Rick was not always this guy. Remember, that's one of the biggest things that Shane was getting on Rick about, how he could not make the tough choices and how he always gave people second chances. So Rick used to be that guy, but no more. So Morgan is talking to Rick about that and stuff like that. They reached a place where Carol was taking out all those freaking saviors, and then they see, a track of blood. They're not sure if it's Carol's blood. They're not sure if it's the guy's blood. And that's just how Rick is just, I just thought that joke was so funny. So they reached the spot where Carol was, where Carol was. They get out the car. They see one of the saviors that's like, he's like clinging on to dear life. He's like, but he's still alive. Rick walks straight over. She's like, where is she? Man don't say nothing. Rick takes out his knife, no hesitation. Just Rick stabs the guy in the head. Morgan is just like, he's just looking at him. Rick, bruh, my lord, it was just like, man, just took him out just without even thinking, So that goes down there trying to, find out what direction Carol went. Rick is saying how Carol is a freaking force of nature, how an old lady like this can freaking just take out 5 saviors by her freaking self, and they're trying to see if Carol might have got shot and which direction she went in and stuff like that. So then they start to follow the trail of blood that's going through the field. So they're going, they're going through the field trying to follow the trail of blood, that they have. One of the guys that was still alive, I guess he's hiding from Rick, and he hides from Rick and Morgan. He comes out of like the freaking bushes, and he starts to follow behind them. So it's just like, what the freak is about to go on now? Glenn, Michonne, and Rosita, they're out looking for Daryl. They want Daryl back just in case something goes down, because they might be getting attacked really soon. So they're trying to get Daryl back home. They find his bike, so they know that Daryl must be close. They eventually find him as he fires freaking. That there Daryl could have killed Rosita if he really wanted to. So he freaking shoots one of the bows at Rosita, but it's like, stay away. It's not a shot to kill it. It's like, listen, I'm good. I'm trying to do this by myself. Of course, Rosita, she gets mad, saying, what the freak, dude, and Daryl, he doesn't want them with him. Daryl wants to do this by himself because, again, he feels guilty because of what happened with Denise and the whole thing, and how he could have killed Dwight when he had the chance. Glenn is pleading to Daryl, please come back home with us. We need you just in case something goes down. Daryl's like, no, I can't. So Daryl is set on what he's trying to do. He is out for blood on Dwight. He really wants to kill Dwight, and he tells that to Glenn. And Glenn is like, listen, this is not about Denise no more. This is about you just wanting to kill Dwight, but we need you back, Daryl. And Daryl's like, I can't do it. So Daryl is set. He is going to kill Two-Face. He is going to kill Dwight. So that goes down. Rosita decides to follow him. Like, Daryl says, I can't, I'm sorry. And then he just walks off. And then Rosita's like, I can't neither. I'm like, chick. Like, what the freak do you think you're going? So she goes with Daryl. So it's Daryl and Rosita, and it's Glenn and Michonne. Glenn is talking to Michonne. He's kind of worried about Maggie, because of the bruises he's seen and stuff like that, and he's worried about their place because they might be getting attacked really soon. So that whole thing is going down. They're talking. All of a sudden, and this jump was just so funny to me because it's like somehow, some way, this man Dwight is always lurking in the trees, bro. Like somehow, some way, this man comes out the trees every time, just lurking. So he sneaks up on Glenn and Michonne, and well, it was him and some of his guys. You start to hear whistles, and each whistle you see like a new savior, just like just having their gun pointed at Glenn and Michonne, so they know that they are outnumbered. And then freaking Dwight comes out, lurking out. He comes lurking out the trees as always, and he's like, "Hi," So Glenn and Michonne have found Dwight. Daryl and Rosita are looking for Dwight, and they just left, so it's just like, what terrible luck, so that whole thing goes down. It goes back to Rick and Morgan. They're still on this trail, of blood, that they're trying to follow, looking for Carol. One of the walkers that you've seen in the freaking fields, I was like, for a split second, I was like, son, is that Carol? Because it kind of looked like it for a split second. I was like, son, don't tell me this is like, a Merle 2.0 to where how Daryl came across Merle, but it was too late. He was a walker. If they did that jump to Carol and Carol was a walker, Lord have mercy. But it wasn't. It wasn't Carol. It wasn't Carol in walker form. It was just a walker. Morgan is still trying to talk to Rick about how people can come back, and how Rick at one point he kicked out Carol back in season 4, I believe, and how he kicked out Carol because she killed Karen and David, and how she came back and saved all y'all back at Terminus, community for all, sanctuary for all. So Morgan's whole thing is, no matter who you are, no matter how evil you may be, all people can come back. All people can, come back and eventually be a good person, but Rick, he's like listen. He doesn't want to hear. And that's the thing, a lot of people, they are so done with Morgan, they are so fed up with Morgan, because his whole philosophy on how he looks at life is just not logical in The Walking Dead today. And I completely get that. Some people are so sick and fed up and done with Morgan and just want this man to be killed off. I personally don't. I still, part of me still likes Morgan because I know what he can bring to the show. His dynamic of what he brings is kind of the same thing to a more extreme extent of how Rick was in the second season. How Shane kept on trying to plead to Rick, you can't make the tough choices. You can't kill people. That's pretty much how Morgan is. But because we're in season 6 and how it is now, the way he is, he just really doesn't fit in well. But I still like Morgan. I still like his character. He's just frustrating at times, So that whole thing goes down. He's still trying to talk to Rick about that. They see a guy there. They reach this farm, and they see a guy there, and he's taking out walkers. Rick pulls out his gun, saying, he said, put your weapons down. The guy does not want to do it because there's walkers around there. And again, you have to be cautious. Every person you come across now in The Walking Dead, you have to be cautious because no one that's still alive is weak, So Rick, he's pulling out a gun on any person he sees, so he does not trust this guy. The guy claims that he's just looking for his horse. Rick, of course, he's still cautious. And then I think it was Morgan who said, have you seen a Carol pass by here? Well, he says a freaking woman, So of course he says no, and he says, listen, I have to go. They're coming. So there's like a whole bunch of walkers, well, not a whole bunch. It's just like a handful of walkers, starting to come. So the guy starts to run off. Rick tries to shoot him. Freaking Rick is like, stop. And then he's about to shoot him. Morgan pushes Rick so he can't hit him. Rick is like, He freaking gave Morgan that freaking death stare for like a split second, like, but Morgan, again, he doesn't want Rick to kill people. So they start to take out the walkers. Morgan almost gets freaking bit. Like, the freaking walker's like right here. Freaking Rick gets him, though. Then they get into this talk again. My Lord, Morgan. Freaking Morgan, dude. Rick is like, that guy could have been one of the saviors, coming from Hilltop, and Morgan's whole thing was, well, he was like, Rick, well, how do you know that? Maybe he was just looking for his horse. You can't always be so quick to kill people, and then Rick is just like, listen, I don't take chances anymore. Rick whole thing, he's not taking chances no more. And then Morgan finally comes clean about the whole thing he did with the wolf back at Alexandria, how he had a freaking wolf inside the basement, that guy that died, and stuff like that. And he tells the whole story of how he could have killed that wolf and how he ran into him twice, but instead he kept him alive. He put him inside of the basement, just to leave him there. And that was like just before, the herd went through there, and stuff like that. And how he fought Carol, and how he's telling Rick the whole story, and how that wolf took Denise hostage, and just before that they were about to get swarmed, he actually saved Denise and came back. And then Morgan was like, see, it's a full circle. All life is precious. And he's saying that he came back and helped Denise, which is true. The wolf guy, even though, yeah, he did, cause a lot of trouble. If you remember, he did save Denise. He pushed Denise away just before he got bit, saying to run. So some of what Morgan was saying was true. It still could have been avoided, and his whole thing was like, because he saved Denise, Carl was safe and stuff like that. So Morgan, it seems like Morgan finally has a point to this whole all life is precious thing, and how he's like, everything has a return, and for once it seems like Rick is like really starting to listen to him. At first he's pissed because he found out that he was keeping a wolf inside of their walls, but once he tells the whole story of how this wolf saved Denise, and then Carl ended up being safe and stuff like that, Rick is like, he's really starting to like listen to Morgan. So now I'm not sure if Morgan's whole thing is starting to affect Rick, maybe somewhat. Again, Rick is not a bad guy. It's just you have to be. Rick is the way he is because he almost has to be like that. But Morgan, it kind of seems like he's starting to have an effect on some of the most savage people. Carol, now maybe Rick, So Rick is starting to finally listen to this whole all life is precious now, and his whole point, and then Morgan tells Rick to go back home and he'll find Carol. Rick does not want to do it, but he promises Rick, listen, I'll find Carol for you somehow, some way, So now Morgan and Rick are about to split up. Morgan is about to leave their group as well. Not really a good time. Freaking, you got Daryl out there, you got Glenn out there, you got Michonne out there, you got Rosita out there, you freaking Morgan just left. It's like, who do you have, dude? Do you not know who is around the freaking corner? It is not a good time for all y'all suckers to be splitting up right now. So, but he leaves, and just before he leaves, Rick and Morgan, they have like a little moment to where Morgan had claimed that Michonne stole one of his protein bars, and Rick brings that up saying, Morgan, Michonne did steal one of your protein bars, and then, it's a little lighthearted moment between them, and then they go in their separate ways. So now Morgan's gone, and then he says, listen, Rick, I'll come back, but if I don't come looking. So now Morgan is gone. My Lord, a lot of stuff went down in this episode. So Rick gets back to Alexandria. He asks Abraham, where's Michonne? Abraham still tells them that they're all out there somewhere trying to look for Carol. Rick really looks worried. Abe asks him if he's scared. Rick says something, and Abraham, I just really like his character. Like he Abraham is fully capable, of doing, of fighting on his own. Like he's not no pushover, but he has these light-hearted moments all the time. So he says to Rick how he's prepared to tear the world a brand new butthole, and like Rick starts to smile and stuff like that. Abraham just always knows how to somehow bring out a smile out of people, So I really like his character and stuff like that. And then we get to the very last part. All right, so now we go back to Enid and Maggie, and I was curious because I was seeing in a lot of interviews that her actress Lauren Cohan, Joe fine self sucker, that she had a short haircut, and I was like, this Rick is gonna go down with Maggie, but no, it was just Maggie asked Enid to cut her hair, and the reason for that was it's almost like a Clementine Lee. It's almost like a old Clementine thing and Telltale's The Walking Dead. She wanted to cut her hair because her hair was getting a little long, and she didn't want, no one to like grab it, so she didn't want nothing in her way just in case something goes down. So she cut her hair for that. All of a sudden, I don't know what the freak went down. I don't know. I hope this man Maggie, I hope Maggie does not end up being like Lori 2.0. I don't know, because she hasn't been pregnant for that long. Like you can't, like her stomach is not even like starting to like come out yet. So I don't know what's going on, but she starts to have contractions or maybe some type of a miscarriage or something. She hasn't been pregnant that long, but she's in pain. She's like she's really starting to scream and stuff like that. So she must, I'm not sure if Glenn's baby. I'm not sure if the Asian baby inside Maggie is starting to kick, or something, saying I'm coming. I'm not sure what's going on, but Maggie, she's really in pain. Maybe it's some contraptions, a miscarriage. I don't know, but she's really in pain, and that happens. And Glenn is out there. Like so many people are out there. And just like that, now they need to be back there because no one really knows what's going on with Maggie. I hope this chick don't end up being the next Lori. Man, that'll freaking suck. And then the last scene, Glenn and Michonne, you now see them tied up because again, those saviors and Dwight, they came across them. So now Glenn and Michonne are tied up. Doesn't really look too good for them. Out comes Daryl and Rosita. Daryl sees Glenn and Michonne. I'm getting the idea that Daryl is here to save the day from them, and he's about to take out these guys. When I tell you this man Dwight somehow, some way is always lurking inside the trees, somehow, some way. Even when he came back and he had Eugene hostage, where did he come from? Out the trees. Somehow, some way, Dwight always comes lurking out the trees. So he sneaks up on Daryl, comes lurking out the trees, right? And Daryl knows that he can't really do nothing right now. The guy that you was looking for just snuck up on you, and Dwight, I don't know how he is sneaking up on Daryl, because Daryl is not a guy that you can really sneak up on. Like he knows how to like track people's footprints to where you can't even see footprints, but Daryl sees it. It's just like Dwight, he did have Daryl's crossbow for a while, so Dwight, he's not some pushover. He is pretty skilled himself. You have to be skilled to use a crossbow like that and stuff. And if you can sneak up on Daryl Dixon, you have to know what you're doing. So he sneaks up on Daryl. Right. And when I was watching it, I literally jumped out of my chair just because of the fact I saw it, but he shoots Daryl. All you see is blood splatter all over the screen. And then the episode is freaking over. I'm like, no, I literally jumped out of my chair and I was like, son, no, they did not just kill Daryl Dixon. And if you watch the scene over and over again, because I watched that jump like 6 times, you can see that he doesn't. It doesn't appear that he actually shoots Daryl in the head. It appears he shoots him in the shoulder. That's what some people were saying on Twitter, that he got shot in the shoulder. And if you listen to that part, I couldn't hear it at the first time I watched that scene because I was freaking screaming, But if you listen to what he says after, Dwight says, he'll be alright. So apparently Daryl's not dead. He like shoots him in like the shoulder in the shoulder or something. So Daryl's not dead yet because we all know who's coming around the corner, and he's bringing his friend Lucille with him. So that was the end of this episode. Another great episode, man. That wasn't even a filler. That was a solid episode all by itself. And now we are at the season finale. And this might be one of the longest recaps maybe, but we're at the season finale now. Next Sunday, this Sunday coming, is the season finale. We all know who's coming. Hi. I'm Negan. He's coming, and all these people are gone now, okay? You got Glenn tied up, Michonne tied up, Daryl shot, Rosita, who knows, freaking Morgan's gone, Maggie is having contraptions. Like, son, this is not a freaking good time to have all these people separated with who's coming in this next episode. And again, I'm not going to spoil nothing just in case you do not read the comics, but just know that Negan, if you thought the governor was bad, you have no idea. You have no idea what's coming. And I've been saying on multiple occasions that as safe as you might, as untouchable as you might think Daryl is, Daryl might get, bro, I would not be shocked one bit if in the season finale 2 main characters die. I would not be surprised one bit. Who knows? It might be Glenn, because Glenn is not. Listen, Glenn has been like a cat. He has 9 lives somehow, but eventually that junk is gonna run out. So Glenn might get it next episode. It could be Daryl. Next episode, it could be Carol. Next episode, it could be Morgan. Who knows? All I know is next episode, someone is about to get that back. So someone is about to be put on the plate, and Morgan is about to start playing some MLB The Show 2016 with someone, bro. I don't know who, but I got a feeling of who it might be. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, man. Negan is not coming no more. Negan is here. Negan is here, and man, Rick, that's the thing, man, because you can make the case, if you're Negan, Rick looks like the bad guy. This guy came to one of your bases, killed some of your men in their sleep, a lot of your men. In how many saviors have Rick and his group killed so far? I lost count. If you're Negan, if he was to kill anyone, just one person, yeah, it'd be freaking heartbreaking, but that's one guy compared to like how many freaking people killed. And when Rick, because I'm not sure if Rick, because remember that guy in that episode to where Rick asked, listen, was Negan here? And then he and you know how all of them say we're all Negan, and then that guy was like, I'm Negan shit. He was like, I'm Negan craphead, and freaking who's freaking calling at this freaking time? But yeah, so he's that guy told Rick that I'm Negan craphead, and then Rick without hesitation, he's like, I'm sorry. He had to come to this and shoots the guy right in the head. So I'm not even sure if Rick thinks that he's already killed Negan, but he's about to meet the real one. And once he does, well, that's all I'm saying. So season finale is next week. I cannot wait to see what happens in that finale. This season has been the best so far. What did you guys think about this episode. What do you guys think is going to go down in the season finale? Let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I greatly appreciate if you rate the video, my brothers and sisters. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, be a thumbs down. But what I do ask every brother and every sweet sister is to just rate the video, my brothers and sisters. So Negan is here.